I want to tell you how I got a show at Stonewall Inn as a queer comedian, musical comedian. That's me. I did that. So basically, the way it worked is I have been doing musical comedy for a little over a year now, and comedy overall for like a year and a half. I love it. I love doing my musical comedy. I love writing songs. I love performing, but I really love like meeting all of the people that I meet doing musical comedy. So like I said, I started doing comedy about a year and a half ago. When I got started doing stand-up, I was going to all of these open mic nights and they were fun. Like I was doing stand-up and I was enjoying that. But the people there were just not like the kind of people that I wanted to be friends with or like that I had anything in common with. So I was kind of feeling like a little bit of an outsider or like just kind of like, what am I doing here? And like, is comedy really for me? Because I felt like I wasn't making friends or like finding any kind of success with that group of people. And I was doing stand-up, and then one time I was telling my friend Kelly that it would be fun to do music too, like do stand-up and then go and perform like a song on the guitar. So she was like, that's a really good idea. And I Googled like music open mics and I found this mic called Inspired Word NYC. I went to that with my friend Denise just to watch for the first time. And it was totally what I was looking for. Like you can do music, you can do comedy, you can do poetry. And I was just like totally into that. And so I signed up in January, on January 9th, 2023. I went and I performed 4 minutes of stand-up and 4 minutes of my song, Uglier Than Me. And it was just a moment where like it felt totally right. Like it just felt good to do music on stage and sing comedic songs. I wrote the song Uglier Than Me when I was 23 for a work talent show. And I've just kind of been sitting on that song for a while. And so it was really cool to be able to perform it in front of an audience and like get a response and like just kind of like, I realized that the musical comedy thing was for me and that's what I should do with my time in comedy. Once I did the musical comedy on the stage the first time, I was like, this is my act. And basically ever since then, I haven't really done straight up stand-up as much. I've done it a couple times, but I almost always bring the guitar when I'm doing comedy shows. I started doing open mic nights that were variety open mic nights or music open mic nights. And I just kind of started to meet people. And I went to this one open mic night in Brooklyn, and it was a variety open mic night. And I met these two women who became like the entrance to me meeting way cooler, way more queer, way more creative people. And so that was Kayla and Sean. And they are both comedians. Sean is a musical comedian. And the first time I saw Sean, I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen someone do musical comedy in the way that I was doing it. And so it was really awesome to see how she was doing it, you know? Once I met them, I started meeting more and more queer comedians. And I met this guy, Jimmy, and Jimmy had a show at Stonewall, a monthly show at Stonewall. And I went to it with Kayla for the first time. I think it was like in March or April of 2023. So pretty soon after I started doing the musical comedy, I started meeting people who were interested in the same stuff. So basically I met Kayla and Sean, and then I met Jimmy. And then through Jimmy, I met a guy named Drew, who runs the Queer Comedy Festival in New York City. Once I got into the queer comedy scene, it all started to open up for me. So then I did the Queer Comedy Festival. That was in May 2023. And when I did that, I met a guy named Poppy J Snacks. And Poppy is like a producer. He is also a comedian, and he puts on shows all around the city. And essentially, I just kind of started going to Poppy's shows. Like he has open mic nights, he has shows that he booked me on, and making friends with all the people that were involved in Poppy's shows. And essentially, like kind of by just kind of like being like a loyal person who goes to the shows, I got booked to do this Stonewall show on April 4th, which I've been posting about. The thing about it is that I think the reason that Poppy booked me is mainly because he felt like I would actually sell tickets and that I would actually put effort into promoting the show. And ultimately, one thing that I've learned about comedy and about getting booked is like, that's your value to a venue or to a producer, is like being able to bring people to your shows. So even if it's just your friends or you know, if it's people that you've met along the way or other comedians, it's very helpful to be able to say, I can bring 10 people, I can bring 20 people, I can bring 30 people. I think for this show, I was able to bring out like 40 people, which was really humbling and cool to see that people were coming out to see my show. Anyway, when I heard I was gonna have the show, I started putting in all this work to promote the show and like make graphics, make videos, email people, text people. I'll do a video sometime on how to promote a comedy show, just from my own little perspective, because I have a lot of ideas of like the best ways that it works. So follow along if you're interested in that. But ultimately, I think if I had to break it down, the reason I got booked for this show was because I had the relationships that people wanted to be friends with me. They wanted to be involved in my comedy. And then the other thing is just that being someone who promotes the show is just a good thing, you know? So I've been thinking about making a little bit more content about this, kind of the how-to of comedy. I'm not perfect at it, but I have some ideas and I would love to share them. So if that's something that's interesting to you, follow along and leave a comment. Let me know what questions you have. I don't have any new shows coming up, but I will definitely let you know when I do, because I will want you to come to my show in New York City. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, an even better week, and don't forget to go follow your dreams. See you later.